Hello and welcome to our video on creating a histogram. Histogram is a visual display of your grouped frequency data. You can draw a frequency histogram or a percentage frequency histogram depending on which table of values you use. First one we're going to look at is a frequency histogram, which uses the frequency column of data. What you need to do once you have your table, of course if you're given raw data, you'll need to put it in a frequency table first before you can draw the histogram. Once you have your raw data, we need a vertical axis that will have the frequency on it. So our frequency goes up to a maximum of 8 and down to 2. So we will make it go all the way down to 0. You would use a ruler to draw your vertical axis. I will make that 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Label it 4, 6, 8 and frequency. Your horizontal axis will be the class intervals. And again, you would be using a ruler for yours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different intervals. Make sure they are evenly spaced. And when we draw a histogram, the bar, it's like a bar chart, but the bars are touching each other because they're right next to each other. So the first one, it does start at 0, so I'm going to start and my bar will be up against the vertical axis. If I didn't start at 0, I could leave a little gap there and start from where I was, but all the others need to be touching each other. So my first one, 0 to 3, so I label this as 3 here. Sorry, that's including the 3. That should actually be a 4 because that's where the next one starts. These numbers here are the ones we're going to label. 0 to 3. The next one is 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16. 0, 4, great, okay. And that one should be 20. Our first one here, 0 to 3, is 2, so we draw a bar that goes up to 2 with your ruler. Between 4 and 8 is 4. Between 8 and 12 is 8. Pause the video now and finish drawing the bars yourself. And you should have a histogram that looks something like this. Frequency is always on the vertical axis, and the number of cups, or the number of cups for this example, but it is the class intervals, will go on the horizontal axis. Make sure you label it on the border here. Don't put your label in the middle. If you're drawing a bar chart, your label will be in the middle because this whole area represents your label. But if you put a 4 in the middle here, it suggests that it goes up higher to a 5 or another number. So make sure you label the borders perfectly where you need to for this to be a histogram. And also remember that your bars need to be touching each other. There's no gaps like a bar chart. Draw you a quick bar chart here that would look like this with gaps in between the bars. Once you have your histogram, you can, or frequency histogram this is because it's based on frequency, you'll need to give it a heading, and that would be about the data that you've collected. So this good heading here would be number of cups of coffee drunk in a day. Something else you might be asked to do with a histogram is to create a frequency polygon, and that is found by just putting a dot in the center of each column, wherever it is, and then getting your ruler and joining those dots together. If you're asked to draw a frequency polygon, then do that and do add it on. It won't always, mine looks like it's making a perfect triangle there. It won't always go in a perfect triangle, and that's fine. It might go up and down. If you're not asked to draw a frequency polygon, you're just asked to draw a histogram, only do the blue column parts of the graph. Example 2 is to create a percentage frequency histogram. The first example was just a frequency histogram, so we used the frequency column. Now we're going to look at using the percentage frequency column. And it's the exact same process, except you will have a percentage frequency. So again, I'm going to draw my vertical axis. My horizontal axis. This time, the highest I need to go to is 40%. So I could go up in 10% increments. 10, 20, 30, 40, and I need to label this percent frequency. It's really important that you label this vertical axis percentage frequency if that's what you're graphing, rather than just frequency if you are just graphing a frequency. Once you have this axis, the exact same horizontal axis as before, with each of your class intervals in there. 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. And then you just graph the percentage frequency again. It's still a histogram, so all of your bars will be touching each other. I'm going to start with 10% for the first bar, 20% for the next bar, 40%, 20%, and 10% at the end. You can draw a percentage frequency polygon if you are asked to by joining them together, and the look of the graph should be very similar to the look of the frequency graph. Your vertical axis will be the only one that changes because it's a percentage frequency instead of just a straight frequency. Thanks for watching the video.